Welcome to all of our soap insiders, and thank you for joining us today. There, you don't have to say it now.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is the Fireside Chat with Melody Thomas Scott, author of Always Young and Restless, her long-anticipated memoir. Melody, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Wanted to ask you, why do the book now?
Well, as I think you know, it's not just now. It started about 10 years ago, although 10 years before that, I knew I was going to write a book. I just wasn't ready. So it's been a long time in coming, and I'm thrilled that it's finished and will be released tomorrow.
How does it feel?
Great. No more deadlines. Well, you know, you're an author too. All those deadlines and requests, I think, are over, but I'm not sure.
Did they have to pull the manuscript out of your hands, and did you just want one more pass on it?
No, I did not. I did so many passes, and you think that you have it exactly the way you want it, and there are no more edits, there are no more typos, and yet I've been in the recording studio these last 2 weekends, Saturday and Sunday, recording the narration, and I found 2 tiny typos that just killed me, because after all the times I reread it, they're still there.
How did you come up with the title, Always Young and Restless?
Well, truth be told, that was not my title. All these years, before I even wrote one word on paper, I always wanted it to be Looking for Normal. That was my title. The publisher disagreed, and as you know how that goes, they won that battle. But in my mind, it resonates to me more as Looking for Normal. And then, of course, if I ever do the sequel, which I have threatened to do, well, that would simply be Still Looking.
You write in the book that you enjoyed being a child actor, and not everyone does who starts out that early. What did you enjoy about starting in the business at such a young age?
Well, I loved it. Yes, my grandmother did push me into the business, but I was a willing participant. I enjoyed performing. I was a Meglin Kitty, which I won't go into that long story of what that means, but it's in the book. And it was a natural progression for me, I suppose. But then when I got to be 4, 5, 6 years old, I really loved being an actress, because even though I knew I was not living the life of a normal little girl, I knew if I got a job, I could go to the studio and play the part of a normal little girl, and that was everything for me. I lived for that.
You don't gloss over the more challenging and painful parts of your life. Can you talk about what the process was to address certain times in your past that were painful?
Well, I don't think one should even write a book if you're not going to include the dark with the light. And had I not had so much darkness, I probably wouldn't have even wanted to write a book. But so that was very important to me, to reveal that. I know it's a very unusual story with unusual adversities, but in the long run, I thought, I know there are other people out there suffering, not necessarily with what I did, but I wanted to give them hope and perseverance, and feel that, yes, there is a way out on the other side to happiness.
Were there people that you shared the manuscript with prior to it going to the publisher?
Well, after the whole book was essentially written, I let my girls and my husband read some of the more sensitive chapters, because, believe it or not, they really didn't know about any of that that's in the book. So I wanted to make sure that they would be okay. And if they had had any objection, I would have pulled them. or rewritten them in a better way. But they were so supportive. Nobody said, no, mother, I can't have that. Not at all. They were very upset reading some of them,
Yeah.
as was Edward, of course. But they all understood what I wanted to achieve, which was to help others. So they were all for it, and they've been great.
Are you drawn to the child actors on the show, and you kind of keep an eye out for them, make sure that things are going okay?
I am, of course, drawn to every child actor um, out of curiosity. And if they are particularly wonderful actors already at such a young age, I admire them so much. And I talk to their mothers all the time, or fathers. We've had a lot of fathers also. We've been fortunate. Most of our child actors have been very good. And I recognize immediately if that child loves being there, because some kid actors don't, and it's quite clear that they don't. Um, I don't really talk too much to their mothers because I'm too afraid of my mouth of saying, what are you doing having your kid in this business? I don't want to say that. But I've had some great relationships with parents of our kid actors. And I mean, we've got Allie Lind, and oh gosh, we have so many good ones, and
Yeah.
so many have come and gone, and some are just gone to us forever because they're doing so successfully outside of Y&R. But it's an interesting thing for me to observe from unique eyes.
Can you talk about working with John Wayne in what I believe was his last film?
It was his last film, and I look back and I'm so thankful that I did have that opportunity. Um, we shot in Virginia, Virginia City. Sorry, again, little brain blip, too tired. Nevada, and I met him the day before we shot our scene on the streetcar together, and he was summoned out of his motorhome, and I saw the door open. He walks down the steps to me, and he was just this very tall, massive, grizzly bear kind of a man, was such a presence. And he came down and put his bear claw around my hand. And it really was a moment that I will never forget. Now, he was already sick with cancer. And I remember when I took his hand, I remember seeing a little copper bracelet around his wrist. I don't know if people still do that, but back then, a lot of people wore those copper bracelets to heal from serious illness. And he was just a sweetheart. I mean, he was lovely and wonderful. And so John Wayne, he was just exactly what you would expect him to be. He really knew how to be a movie star. The old-fashioned movie stars, the ones we used to have.
Let's talk about the segueing from a child actor into a young adult actor and then having that continue. That doesn't happen a lot.
I was out of the business. I wasn't really thinking of it. I was focusing on my piano. I was working at the Broadway Hollywood selling women's shoes, and I was just happy as could be. And I had been told by my manager, Melody, don't ever answer the phone in the stockroom. I said, okay, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I'm not good on the phone. I don't know. So I didn't until this one day. I'm back in the stockroom. The phone is ringing. Well, what do? I answer it. And it's my childhood agent who I had not spoken to in years. And as if no time had passed, she, hi, honey, how are you? Listen, I have an interview for you. Write this down. And I just said, okay. And the next day I went to the address and I was led into the office, and I didn't know who the casting person was going to be. Well, when I got into the office, Kirk Douglas was sitting behind the desk. And that was my first indication that he had anything to do with this audition. And one thing led to another. I won't bore you all. I mean, it is in the book and it's an interesting story. But that is really what I got the part, a very small part. But that catapulted me back into the world of acting as an adult. And how very odd. I should not have even answered that phone in the back room, but something made me do it.
The entire time Victor and Nikki were kept apart when they divorced until they remarried at her near deathbed. Every time they were in a room together, the longing filled the room. Audiences were compelled to tune in to see if this was the day, the time that they would get closer to that inevitable reconciliation that everyone wanted to see. I know that the magic and the chemistry and the dynamic between yourself and Eric and Victor and Nikki is impossible to describe. Having said that, how would you describe it?
Well, God knows I have tried to describe it for many years.
Right.
But I think I did hit on something a little closer to truth at his 40th anniversary party that we just had. When was that? Last year? I don't know. I don't know where I am.
Well,
where, and not to be all woo-woo, but to me, I said that whenever Nikki and Victor are together in a room, whether they're fighting or whether they're loving or whether they're not even speaking at all,
right.
Their chemistry is so powerful. It is almost as if their two souls join together to dance. It's like our souls love the opportunity to be in front of that camera so that they can dance together. And of course you can't see it, but you can feel it, and the audience can feel it as well as we can. And I rather like that description of it.
Is there anything that you're hoping that people will walk away from once they complete reading the book?
Well, again, my main concern is the reason I even included so many sensitive chapters,
right,
is that, we often think that we have a unique background and we have had unique experiences, but I'm sure no matter what has happened to all of us, there are other people out there, perhaps even worse things have happened to, and we don't know these people. But if you can give people hope for the future and tenacity and strength through reading of your own foibles, your own experiences that you have overcome, I think that's a unique situation to be in, and I really am enjoying that aspect of it.
Awesome. We do have a question from one of our insiders that I can ask you.
Sure.
What was it like shooting the film Piranha?
Oh, Piranha. Oh, my goodness. Nobody's asked me about that in the last 3 weeks, so that's cool. Piranha was, well, if anybody has seen it, it was a take on Jaws, and it was very low budget. It was one of the last Roger Corman productions, if you remember that, Michael.
Yep.
And it was just supposed to be campy fun, and it was that, and we had a ball shooting it. We shot it in Texas. Very weird thing about that, and I don't think even you know this, Michael. I found out many years later, after I was on Y&R, that Eric Braeden was going to, and actually did go and shoot some underwater footage of him swimming as a preface to him being in that movie, which ended up, I believe Bradford Dillman took that part. But when I learned that, I said, are you kidding me? And I ran to the set and I told Eric, I said, do you remember the Piranha thing that you did? He said, yes. I said, well, I was in that movie. I mean, we almost worked together in 1978. This is craziness. And it was such a coincidence. So you see, our souls were trying to get together even then.
I think it was destiny.
I think so too.
I think that might be a great place to leave off. Uh, Melody, I can't thank you enough, and I can't recommend this book highly enough.
Oh,
I
thank you.
could not put it down once I started reading it, and I think that people are going to walk away with feel like they're getting to know you more, and all those elements that you talked about. It's really, you should be very proud of it. It's amazing.
Thank you. I am.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you again, and until next time.
All right. Hope it'll be soon.